Alrighty, this is We the People News one more time at it. Okay? Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Never look just straight forward, always look around you, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Alright? Use the Second Amendment, arm yourself with knowledge. Alrighty? Uh, this is more back into property tax. And I talked to you guys, showed a couple of videos about the sovereignty living. Alright? But it was an interesting video. Um, the original intent in writing. Okay? Now, it's going to be this video right here. But an interesting saying by Benjamin Franklin, which I don't really like a whole lot, but this is true and correct. Make yourselves sheep, and the wolves will eat you. Alright? Now, that being said, who said we had to do that? So, Diesel's saying is, as the wolves are eating you, you can let them eat you, or you become werewolves. And then, and only then, you become the alpha of the wolves. Alright? So, let's proceed forward on this.
Under the law, to a perfection of his grant, donation, or purchase, the law alone must be the fountain from which the authority is drawn, and there can be no other source. The land patent is the minument of title, such title being absolute in its nature, making the sovereigns absolute freeholders of their lands, on their lands. Finally, the patent is the only evidence of legal fee simple title. And that's 1837. So then we got to look back at history. So what happened? The southern states walked out of Congress. Congress failed to have a quorum, could not conduct business. Under executive authority on the 15th of April, 1861, notice the date, Lincoln ordered Congress to reconvene at Stat 1258. On the 5th of August, 1861, Congress passed an act to provide increased revenue for imports to pay interest on the public debt for other purposes. And I've actually got that act pulled up here. This is it right here. Let me just show it to the people online. Nope, that's not it. There we go. So why is that not coming out there? Oh, there we go.
Alrighty. Now, if you put it on a big screen, maybe you'd be able to see it better. Alright, so, this is the original act of Congress.
So,
when they decide to steal from you.
This is This is the Act of Congress that was passed in 1861. And if you look, it talks about sugar and all sorts of stuff. Licorice root, 1 cent per pound. Mace and nutmeg, 25 cents per pound. Talks about a bunch of taxes. But ad valorem taxes and duties on certain imports. And then you go on. Section 6, Section 7. And then it's done by apportionment. So each state is apportioned a certain amount of money to raise to pay interest on the debt. And then it goes into, and that for the purpose of assessing the above tax and collecting.
So you kind of yell at it, which makes it mean is basically stand out.
The same, the President of the United States is hereby authorized to divide respectively the states and territories of the United States and District of Columbia into convenient collection districts, and to appoint an assessor and collector to each district who shall be freeholders and resident within the same. And Section 10, before any collector shall enter upon duties of office, he shall execute a bond. And
that's the reason why they want you to be a resident and not an inhabitant.
He's got an oath of office, and then here in Section 12 it says to require after and concerning all lands, lots of ground, improvements, buildings, dwelling houses made liable to taxation under this Act by reference. The said direct tax laid upon this Act shall be assessed and laid on the value of lands, lots, grounds, improvements, dwelling houses, which several articles include a taxation enumerated value in respect of assessors. So they're talking, again, they're talking about land. So this is where it started. Penalty for disclosing fraudulent. There's this whole thing is 22 pages, so there's quite a bit of stuff here. But anyway, so this is where it all got started, and So back to the actual. So I'm looking at the comments on YouTube right now. You can hear me now, I think. I'm right here next to the computer. So anyways, let's keep moving. So the 7 states walked out of Congress on August 5th, 1861. Congress passed an act to provide revenue, so you got to understand they're operating under executive authority. And they've been operating under executive authority ever since. So at 12 Stat 296, Section 9, they're talking about tax assessors and collectors. Section 10, they're required to execute a bond. These are all stuff we looked at in the actual act. They have an oath of office. Section 11, Secretary of the Treasury to provide regulations, Section 12. Okay, that brings in the IRS. Really, it's where it falls under is Title 26 of U.S. Code. Direct tax on lands and lots of ground is Section 13, and there's a Board of Assessors, Section 25. Tax liens in Section 33. Every collector shall exercise and be guilty of any extortion or oppression under color of this Act shall be liable at Section 43. Penalty for taking a false oath, Section 47. There shall be allowed full compensation for their services, a commission at Section 48. So they get a piece of the action of whatever they can collect. That's where the motivation is, to basically engage in theft if they can get away with it. So, and then there's an act to secure homesteads. This was done in 1862. Be it further acted, a person applying for the benefit of this act shall, upon application to the Register of Land. So there's some of these, you'll see homesteads out there, and they're not the same as a land patent. And they're for U.S. citizens. You got to understand, that's a privilege, okay? It's a benefit of this act, that's a privilege. Copies of these documents can be found on my website. For a complete set of YouTube videos with private information shares, a DVD with over 150 searchable law dictionaries and other books and forms, contact me privately at engineerwin@yahoo.com. And this is the statement that I was talking to Jason here recently. Donations to support this work are appreciated. I prefer gold to silver coin, but as an extremely less desirable alternative, I can accept the IOUs, the Federal Reserve note, checks, money order.
Now, this is going to be for Texas.
Right there. So let's look on the YouTube live stream. Yes, it's there. Okay, this is the act in 1871 that talks about the, so it says here, all real and personal property in this state, the property of corporations now existing or may hereafter be created, or the property of all banks, banking companies now existing, or may hereafter be created of all bankers, except what is expressly exempted. Okay, so it's corporations and bankers, right? All real property for the purpose of in this state. This is where they use the phrase "in this state," and that's actually found in Texas.
So listen to this code very carefully.
Texas codes. There's a lot of states that like using this phrase in their codes. Remember, they're all civil laws. They can't violate right of blood. And so in this state is used there. So, but let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation and we'll continue on there. So, so this is section 1, that all real and personal property in the state, the property of corporations now existing or may hereafter be created, or the property of all banks, banking companies now existing or may hereafter be created, and all bankers. So that's all that's listed here. There's nothing else, okay? And then it goes on. In section 4 of that act, it says the term person, whenever used in this act or any other act regulating the assessment and collection of taxes, shall be construed to include firm, company, and corporation. That's it. Nothing else there. Just firm, company, or corporation. Okay? That does not talk about people. In case you need me to expand upon that. That's firm, company, or corporation. That's fictitious entities.
What's the name in all caps?
Sorry?
They're going to address you as the name in all caps, and that's a corporation.
I understand. That's why I'm suing them right now. And that's the minor estate, and I'm telling the federal court that I want that thing dissolved and liquidated. Anyways, so include or the participial form thereof is defined to comprise within, to withhold, to contain, enclose, comprise, comprehend, embrace, involve. Okay, that's Montello Salt versus Utah, U.S. Supreme Court. Include, this is American Dictionary of English Law, Noah Webster, 1828. To confine within, to hold, to contain as a shell of a nut includes the kernel. A pearl is included in a shell. But in these senses, we're more commonly used enclose. To comprise, to comprehend, to contain. And then Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, same thing. Include. to shut in, to keep within, to confine within, hold as an enclosure, take in, attain, shut up, contain, enclose, comprise, comprehend, embrace, involve. And they're actually quoting a Oregon court case. So include is limiting. That means that's all it is, just that. In this state, means, and this is the current Texas tax code, okay? In this state means within the exterior limits of Texas and includes all territory within these limits ceded to or owned by the United States. And that's it. There's nothing else, okay? That means that, and I don't think, I've heard that there's no land in Texas that was ceded to the United States, but the U.S. probably does own a bunch of land, like Fort Hood, for example. And so there's a lot of land that the U.S. probably owns, but it's not been ceded to the United States. Yeah, national parks. There's a lot of national parks even. And so, but I'm not sure if that's owned. They say that a lot of these national parks have been turned over to the UN because of the debt. Yes. I don't know. But anyways, so in this state, and this is kind of small, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff I put in my federal case right now. This is just a small part of it. Matter of fact, what I think I'll do, no, I think I'll keep that, but because so when they use that phrase in this state, what that's saying is that it's only in federal areas of Texas. So that's a little bigger. Well, that's too big. So, anyways, an assistant prosecuting attorney is licensed to practice law only in federal areas of Texas. And this is taken from Texas Government Code, Section 41.103. It says an assistant prosecuting attorney must be licensed to practice law in this state and shall take the constitutional oath of office. All judges practice law only in federal areas of Texas. And this is taken from Texas Government Code 54A.003. To qualify for appointment as an associate judge under this chapter, a person must, 1, be resident of this state and in one of the counties the person will serve. 2, be licensed to practice law in this state for at least 4 years. And
okay, on the property tax, right? So when they named all these things in there, you had to break it down, okay? And when you break these down, it's all of one like kind, okay? Cineris generis, some type of Latin word, means one of like kind, okay? Wolves are dogs, lions are cats, men are men, a legal person is a fiction, all right? They are not the same and cannot be treated the same. So, when they say all these things are within the guise of the umbrella with all these corporations and all that kind of stuff, well, that is the true intent going after the corporation body under that umbrella of one like kind. So even your private property cannot be in this category because they defined what it's supposed to be for. Now, attorneys and